Hi guys, my name is Lucia and today I am going to be filming a video about palettes I wish existed inspired by artwork. Really quick, if you like the look I am wearing, I just filmed Get Ready With Me. I will link that down below. But today I have two prints here by Curtis Reichovich. Here's what they are, and I will put on the screen the names of each of these prints. I did order these off of his website. I will link him down below. The reason I initially discovered Curtis is because he works with Unicorn Cosmetics. If you buy from them, the inside of the box will be a picture, and he does have two palettes that Unicorn Cosmetics posted months ago, and they have his prints on the cover. I was so excited because I love these prints because of the color story that you can make with a palette from these pictures. They never release them. It's been months. No one has heard anything. I don't know if they're planning to release them, but I thought, you know what? I love his artwork. It's really cool. I want to create palettes that I wish existed inspired by his artwork. This is in no way sponsored by him. He does not know I exist. I just really like his work. I will say, when I picked out these pictures, I didn't realize just how similar they are in terms of a color story. So my two palettes that I created, they're very similar. And I understand that if this were to actually be on the market, you wouldn't create both of these palettes, but my brand is non-existent. This is just for fun. I moved over so there's more room to see the palette, and the first one has to do with this girl. I'm going to start with the top left and make my way row by row from top to bottom. So the first shade I was thinking of, I actually had an inspiration for this in the ColourPop Dream Street palette. There's the shade Moony, and I actually was thinking that this eyeshadow would be just like this, but it would be more metallic instead of a satin. This is a brow bone inner corner highlight shade, and it's kind of a gold undertone, but it would be more metallic than this. And the inspiration I got from that is in the jewelry that she has, as well as her hair. Next shadow is a light mint green. This isn't quite exactly mint green. I did have a true mint green in there, and it didn't look quite right, but what I was going for is her cone, her ice cream cone that's on her head, and more specifically, the unicorn's hair. This green part of the hair. I really wanted the palette to kind of look like this ombre effect that's going from green to blue to purple. So this light green is a matte shade. The next shade is supposed to be a metallic, not emerald green, but a little bit deeper. I was looking at her horn and kind of just the overall tone of a metallic, sparkly green, blue, not a duochrome, but something like that. I got this picture from a beetle. This is the skin of a beetle. I really like the way that turned out. It's kind of hard to put into words. I'm not sure which describing word in terms of color would be used to describe this, but that is essentially the color that I wanted. Last in that row, we have what might appear to be black, but it's actually a really dark green, and that was one of the only things that I didn't pull so much inspiration from this. You can see that her makeup is very smoked out, so that's mainly where I got the inspiration from, but I also just wanted to have a deeper purple. This is a very light cotton candy picture, but I wanted to have something that you could get the smoky-eyed effect that she has. This is kind of a darker creature, even though it appears to be light and airy and cotton candy. You can tell she has something darker going on inside of her. The first shadow on the second row is one of my favorites in this palette. I got inspiration from her garment right here, and also the blue highlights in her hair. So this is supposed to be a metallic frosty blue shade. It reminds me of snow, except more blue. It's really important that it's a frosty color. It's not pure blue. It's not a duochrome, but it has this white blue effect, and I really like that in her hair. That's probably my favorite accent in this artwork, and I think this shadow would be really pretty on the center of the lid, no matter what shadow is underneath it. It's a very unique shadow. When I think about this in my head, there's no shadow that I know of that exists that I'm pairing with this idea. The second shadow in that row is a matte blue. This is a light blue, and I was getting the inspiration from this part of the hair. If you look at the second column going down, that is where I get this ombre effect. These little polka dots on the unicorn, the center of the polka dot has a baby blue-esque type color, and that's also where that comes from. The next shade over color is a matte ocean blue, and I pulled that from the darker part of these polka dots. You can see there's a dark purple. Originally, I zoomed in on this picture and I used that color, but it wasn't quite what I was going for, so I did pick this more ocean blue. I really like that this is a matte and the shade that's next to it is also a matte, so you have those three blue matte shades, and then you have the shade above it that is a greeny blue metallic, and then you have the really light frosty blue metallic. And I really liked that balance between the mattes and the shimmers. So the last shadow in this row is a very deep blue. I wanted a very deep green, blue, and purple because I thought that depending on the look, that inner corner shade that you use, if it's the wrong tone, it really either makes or breaks the look, even though if in the pan it looks too dark to be able to tell. Now for the last row, the first shade I described as a metallic blue purple. I really wanted something that would capture this part of the hair, but something metallic. And also, if you look into her eyes, it is very metallic, bright. Now these colors are broken up between the red, blue, and purple, but I really wanted something that was purple but mixed with the blues so that you could use all of the matte blues in this shade and just use that one purple metallic shadow and it would still work. It would still mesh well. You could put the frosty blue on top of this bluey purple shade and it would still mesh well. I was really trying to think about not just picking colors that worked from the picture, but picking colors that would complement each other. Next to that, we have the light matte purple, and that again is from the part of the unicorn's hair. Again, the column there is this ombre effect, and that would be so cool to do a look using the ombre effect. I really wish this palette actually existed and it wasn't just on my computer and in this video. Next is a metallic reddish purple pink. This is the most unique to the color story. This is the most non-greeny blue shade, and the reason I have this is again because of her eyes. There is a little bit of this beautiful red color, as well as her lips are very flushed, but I hope you guys can see in her eyes that reddy pink. I really wanted that, and that would be such a cool thing to do under the lash line, or just, I think it really makes this palette stand out as unique. Not that this palette wouldn't stand out as unique if this shade isn't in there, but I think that this shade is something different. It's a little detail in the picture that I think takes it to the next level. And the last shade is a deep purple. Again, that last column is the deep of the three shades in this palette. There's not really an inspiration from this for the deep color. Again, her smoky eyes and her mischievous demeanor. When it comes to packaging, I'm not quite sure. This isn't really thought out in terms of packaging because obviously I would want these pictures to be on the cover. Now for this palette, I was looking at the Michelou palettes as I was doing this because they have the same amount of rows, and I was thinking that if I had this palette, you could put this picture on the top of the palette and then it could open up, but I would want it to open up like this. I'm not sure. The packaging, I haven't really thought through as much. But yeah, that is the first palette. I am really happy with this palette. I wish it existed. Let me know what you think, and now we're gonna move on to the second palette. This is the picture for the second palette. This is what the second palette looks like, and the packaging on this is even less thought out because this doesn't have the dimensions of the Michelou palette, so I don't really know where this picture would go. I guess if I actually were to have a brand and that was a problem, then I would need to figure that out. But for right now, I'm like, well, creative freedom. It's not real. It's okay. You will see that upon first inspection, yeah, this looks a lot like the other palette, but I will say I did not use any duplicate colors, even though it might look like I did. I did research different colors, and again, there is a great explanation for why each one of these shadows relates to the picture and why it is in this palette. So starting at the top left, this is a white silver shade. Now I wanted to have a white silver shade because obviously her hair is very white, and this is going to be a metallic. So you can use this as an inner corner highlight. It's going to be very white but with no gold undertones, which is why it's a white silver. The shade right below it is also a metallic, and this is a deeper silver. I got this from her scales. Now, I actually don't know when you're looking at this picture, is this her body? This is the only part of the picture that I don't understand, these dark scales, but yes, the shade right below it is another silver, but it's more of a true silver. It's not like a tin silver, it's really like this silver that's just deeper than that one, but it doesn't make the look darker, if that makes sense. Going back to the top row, that second blue is a matte blue, but instead of a baby blue, it's a little more muted. I was going for this blue that she has on her forehead. Next to that is another matte. This is an ocean blue, and this is absolutely from these scales of the dragon. These are so beautiful, and it again is this ombre effect, and I really wanted to capture this very center with this oceany looking color. The next shade is another matte shade. This is a purple, and this isn't exactly from this picture. I really did want a bright shade because this is more deep. All these colors, at least the purples in this, are really more dark, but I wanted to have a lighter purple in order to, you know, have a transition shade and more ombre into all these dark purples when you're putting them on your eyes. Next, we have a light matte red, and this is from her tears here. I don't know if these are tears or just part of her face or blood or whatever, but these are such a beautiful color, and I tried really hard to get a light red that was complementary to purple as opposed to an orangey red. I thought that that would go much better with the palette as a whole. Last for this row, I have a deep purpley green shade. I really wanted something that was like the dragon's head. Do you see how that is purple, but it has these earthy tones to it? That's what I was going for, and it's hard to find that color online. If this palette were to be a thing, that is the color, the dragon's head. That's what I was going for. Going to the second row, again, that first shade is a metallic silver. The second shade is a yellowy, greeny blue color, and the reason I picked that is because if you can see, her inner corner highlight has this yellowy green shift to it, and I really love that. It's very different from all the other colors, and I thought that that would be beautiful to put in the palette. It complements everything else, and it does give that little bit of uniqueness to the other shades. The next shadow is a metallic, and this was supposed to be a turquoise. I'm getting this right from the wings of the dragon. That was exactly the shadow that I was picturing. I had a hard time finding a picture to put in the palette that would replicate this, but imagine it's this and just a metallic version of that. The next shadow is a metallic purple, and I was going for her lips here. She has these beautiful glossy lips, and I thought a metallic purple, very metallic, very bright and shiny. This shadow would go really nicely with both the matte blue and the matte purple from the top row. The next shade is a metallic reddy purple, and I was going for the bottom of the dragon's tail. This was really hard to find. It was hard to find a purple that I felt pulled red or a red that I felt pulled purple, but I love the color that I found. This bottom row is all metallic except for the last shadow, which is a black, and I figured, look at her. She is this ice queen, but there is darkness in her. You have to have a black matte shadow, especially with her gigantic lashes. It just wouldn't make sense without a black matte. Alright guys, and that was everything. Those are my palettes. Please let me know if you like this. I have had requests to create my own palettes in the past, and I would love to do this again with some other things. Please let me know what you would like to see. Let me know what you thought of this. Again, next time I will pick two things that differ a little bit more. That's just the way the cookie crumbled, but I will be more aware of that in the future. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!